Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right, the return of Vikings Vent Line. VikingsVentLine@gmail.com is the way to get on this show. If case you have maybe discovering this for the first time or you wanted to come on Vent Line before, hello, welcome. This is Purple Daily, Daily Vikings Entertainment. And Vikings Vent Line every Sunday on the Purple Daily YouTube channel is the place to be for all Vikings fans. So if you have thoughts on the upcoming season, the draft that took place, the free agency moves, anything you want to talk about Purple related, this is your show. So if you'd like to be on a future episode, you can hit me up. It is VikingsVentLine@gmail.com. Would love to hear from as many Vikings fans as possible. Also, a shout out to our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Standard is the way to go for those HVAC and furnace needs and anything air conditioning related. It was a super hot one here in the Twin Cities all last week. You want to make sure that AC is working well. So now that the weather has maybe cooled down for the week, you can make sure that air conditioning is serviced appropriately. Contact Standard to do so. Don't DIY any of that type of stuff. Don't think you know what you're doing. Let the experts handle that. Go to standardheating.com to book that consultation to take a look at that furnace and air conditioning and anything HVAC related. All right, Vikings Vent Line rolls on here. We're excited to talk to our guys Cody and Adam. They're making their return to Vikings Vent Line. Both these guys are vets of Vent Line. They've been on before. So, Adam, remind me, are you in Minnesota? Are you somewhere else? Where are you at?
I'm in Hollywood.
Hollywood. Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Very
Not
nice.
Florida, California.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had family in the Florida one, and I know how confusing that can be. And then Cody, you're not on the farm right now. You usually like to call when I feel like you're outside and you're by the animals. You're in the car right now on the way home from some errands.
We are,
Okay.
yes.
Nice. I love it. Well, let's fire this up here, guys. So Vikings schedule comes out. I guess, Adam, just kind of give me some initial thoughts on what you thought of the schedule. We've known the opponents for a while. Now we know the order. Just your initial thoughts on the Vikings schedule release.
Well, I mean, I'm going to butter the knife here. Here are the positive things about the schedule. I actually like the fact that it ends with 2 home games against the Pack and the Lions. Just because if they're fighting for a playoff spot, obviously, I think it's better to be at home. Hopefully they'll have something clinched by that point, but who knows? Long season. So I like that. I like the 2 games overseas. The Dublin, London back-to-back. That's kind of a unique thing. I wish I had the cash. I'd go out there. I think those would be amazing games to go to.
Yeah.
You got to go to the one in Dublin. With a name like Declan, you got to go to the
I know.
So,
It's something it might be in the works. We'll see. I know I never made it over there, and it's something that I might have to consider. That should be a lot of fun, though. Yeah.
Oh, it'd be an amazing. Plus, the Steelers would be a good game, and they're going to have a following there, and I think that would just be a lot of fun. And then, so those are kind of the positive ones. The opening game against the Bears on Monday night on the road. I've never been more confident in a Viking loss. I've never been more that stadium. I mean, how many times have they lost goofy games? Was it last year where didn't the Bears recover an onside kick?
Yeah, they made it super interesting.
They almost won the game. Yeah. Who recovers an onside kick in the current configuration of football? I tell you who does. The Bears against the Vikings in Soldier Field. That's who recovers it. So I think the Bears are going to want to make a statement. They got a better roster. Williams is healthy. I am not optimistic about that game. I think they'll right the ship after that, playing the Falcons and the Bengals at home. And then also the game that I'm most interested in is they play the Chargers, out here. And I saw them play the Rams out here last year with my girlfriend. And if you recall, that was after the Lion game. Well, this game is going to be after the Eagle game, which is going to be a completely rugged game. And then they're going to get 3 days off. Now, I'm going to have to go to the game, but I'm not optimistic about that one either. So, but overall, I mean, again, I think that they're, like I said, they're headed in the right direction. I'm optimistic they're competitive. There's a couple of games in there I'm not very optimistic about, and those are the ones, actually. So that's my initial impression of the schedule for the Vikings.
I like it.
So,
Cody, how about you, man? What do you think of the schedule release? What do you think of the London games, primetime games? What did you kind of make of it?
I love the bye week a lot more this year than I did last year. Last year, I thought what did we have, a week 5 bye last year? On basically the first week it was available.
Yeah.
I was kind of nervous about that just because by the time you get to the end of the season, everybody's beat up, everybody's tired. But I like this one just because of where it's placed at after the double international game. It makes sense. Then they come in and they get the Thursday night game against the Eagles right afterwards, or a Sunday night, Monday night. It's a prime time
Sunday
game.
against the Eagles, Thursday against the Chargers.
The Chargers.
Correct? Yeah.
But they get like 10 days rest from flying home and whatnot, because I think they need to start hot very fast, because that week 6 through week 11 is a bit of a gauntlet. They're playing almost all playoff caliber teams. You got 2 divisional games between the Lions and the Pack. You got the Chargers, you've got the Eagles, you've got the Ravens in that mix all together, back to back to back to back to back. There is no breaks. Luckily half of them aren't necessarily prime time, because we're still kind of snake bitten by the whole Kirk Cousins 1 o'clock and prime time game thing. Everybody's kind of like, prime time game. I don't want to watch this anymore. But I think they need to at least start 4-1 to start the season in order for us to have any kind of optimism, because that week 7 through 11 is going to kind of determine their playoff seeding in general, or if anybody really wants to say that they're a truly dominant elite team.
Yeah, if they don't get off to a hot start to open the year, things can get pretty rough there. So if they can kind of build up some house money and some house equity essentially there, if they bank like four of their first 5 wins. The London games are against some kind of softy opponents. We'll see where the hell Aaron Rodgers goes, but I think regardless, I think the Vikings are still a better team obviously than the Steelers, and they're certainly a better one than the Browns. So. And Adam bringing up the weird stuff that happens at Soldier Field. I don't have a good feeling about that one either. I don't know why. I don't think like it's like a shipwrecking. It's week 1, like you can't lose your season in week 1. But I do think that's going to be maybe a little tougher than originally anticipated.
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubt. Hester's going to come out of the crowd and return a punt for a touchdown. There'll be some goofy thing, The spirit of Dick Butkus will come on and block a punt. It's just.
I can see it. Adam, what is your kind of order in the NFC North? Like, do you have the Vikings winning this division? Is this still the Lions division? Where do you kind of shape up the NFC North 1 through 4 this year?
No, good question. I mean, I kind of think it's going to be like last year. I mean, until the Lions are taken off the perch, I think that they're still the team to beat. And the Vikings have, they lost to them twice last year, and I think a lot of teams have a hard time matching up with them, but with the Lions, I'm saying, and it'd be great if they could split with them. But I think it's the Lions to win. I think the Vikings will be in second, though. This whole 8.5 over under, I think that's just the national media not understanding. And I am notoriously cynical, and I try to assess the Vikings on a championship standard all the time. But they've got some good component pieces there, and I'm pretty optimistic about the Vikings, even with this schedule. They're going to be a competitive team. So I think the Vikings should be in second, because I think they're better than the Pack. I don't know if they're a lot better than the Pack, but they beat them twice last year. They seem to have matched up pretty well against them. And I think the Bears probably will be in last place, although the Bears will be a much better team, I think, this year. Better roster. If Williams can not take 70 sacks, I think that they're just simply going to be a better team. They got a better roster. I think the division's tough, so the Bears might be in last place, but frankly, a better football team. So I think Lions, Vikings, Pack, Bears. That's my thought.
Yeah, I think the Bears are probably going to be improved. I know they did a lot of the same things the Vikings did, right? They bolstered their offensive line. Yep. They fixed some of the holes that they had. It is Chicago, and they do have a tendency to kind of have things blow up in their face in like hilarious fashion. So it's certainly not a given that the Bears are going to be good, but I do think it's probably going to be the most competitive division in football, because you could probably even see a case where maybe any of these 4 teams could maybe even win the division. Cody, how about you, man? Do you have the Vikes winning the North this year?
I'm hedging my expectations on J.J. McCarthy. He does really well. But in the back of your mind, you always have this little devil going, well, what if he gets hurt again? As soon as one, that thing happened with Dalvin Cook. As soon as he got hurt in week 3, for the rest of his Vikings career, was like, is he going to get up? Is he going to get up? Is he hurt again? He slowly gets up. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Here we go again. Where's Matt Asiata at?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that might be why they put the over under at 8.5, because they're also going. It's been a year and a half since he's actually played a physical snap of football. Well, besides the preseason game,
Right.
Yeah.
nobody truly knows exactly how he's going to play. The roster is significantly better than it has been,
Yes.
but without a competent quarterback that's willing to take a lick. Like we saw get the hit last year. He couldn't stay off the ground. He spent more on than he did off. And they still found their way into games a lot of times. They just couldn't pull them out at the end. And I think it's going to still end up being the Lions taking the division with the Vikings taking a close second. But I have a sneaky hunch that the Bears are going to overtake the Packers this year.
Oh,
I like that.
I think the Packers are gonna have their tail tucked, and they're gonna They did nothing to actually better their roster. They've still followed Alexander's contract, and they picked up I don't know. I feel like they kind of reached a little bit for Matthew Golden, and then kind of went, "Woohoo! We finally took a wide receiver in the first round." And I don't think it's gonna really move. It didn't move the bar for most people. I don't think that they took another wide receiver. They've got a stable of wide receivers that none of them are kind of pulling away as their wide receiver one. They've got 8 different wide receiver twos and nothing else to show for it.
Yeah, it's a good take there. I mean, as much as I just said, all 4 of these teams probably have a path to finish first, because I know the Lions are the favorites on the money line, but still, like, the Bears are like plus 450, 500, which is a long shot, but not like a crazy one where like it wouldn't be completely unexpected. So it's just going to be logjam. Like there's probably going to be 4 teams that all win maybe 8 games, which is nuts. So I don't know if they'll have all 4 teams getting into to the wild cards, or getting to the playoffs with 3 getting the wild card. But there's certainly a case to be made. The division's gonna be awesome. I like that there's not just like for the Twins side in baseball, like the White Sox are so bad that everyone just beats up on them, right? Like in this case, you got 4 teams that are all really, really good, and they're going to be throwing haymakers at each other.
Yeah.
Good
point.
Taking a look future-wise, or actually, I'm sorry, in the past, going back to the past, not to the future, to the past. Adam, what was your first Vikings memory? So you're out in Hollywood. Did you used to live in Minnesota? What was your kind of first memory as a Vikings fan?
Oh yeah, no, I've kind of lived all over the place. I was actually born in Richfield, so my family was, and then my father got transferred work-wise out to the D.C. area. Okay. So I lived in the D.C. area until I was 13 years old. So you didn't get national game. You got Redskin games at that time. And you wouldn't get, like, I had to see the Vikings on a Monday night game But my earliest memory is 1977 was the year I achieved Viking consciousness. And they opened that season with a loss at home against the Cowboys, 16-10 in overtime, cementing my resentment towards America's team. And it was it was a nationally televised game. I was completely excited about it. Summerall and Brookshire. It was Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire. That used to be the number 1 team before Summerall and Madden. So, but watching that game, and I remember Chuck Foreman scored a touchdown. It was his 55th touchdown in 54 games.
Wow.
Now, that's how good Chuck Foreman was.
Seriously?
He basically averaged a touchdown a game the first 4 or 5 years of his career. That's how good he was. And I was just hooked. But then they lost. So they ended that. They started that season with a home loss, and then they ended with a road loss and the NFC Championship game against the Cowboys. But that's my earliest memory, is that 1977, when it was still a 14-game season. Of the Vikings and Tarkington. So it was the last hurrah that year, when they beat the Rams in that great Mud Bowl game. So, anyway, that's my earliest Viking memory, is them playing the Cowboys and losing at the old Met.
I like it. Cody, I think you may have explained it before, but what's your earliest Vikings memory?
I was a bit of a late bloomer. I think what truly cemented my love and hatred for football in general and the Vikings was probably that 2015 Teddy Bridgewater season. Watching that kick against the Seahawks in the playoffs. I don't know. I don't know what it was about that frigid game, wild card. You're playing almost old school football where you're running. You're running 3 times out of 4 tries in your drive. You may get 8 yards. You may get 32. I couldn't tell you, but I loved Adrian Peterson altogether.
Yeah.
But I think that loss in 2015 was what created the itch to continue to want to watch it. So if I had to say anything, it was probably that 2015 wild card loss against the Seahawks.
Okay. Yeah, that's everyone has the brutal loss. I mean, I know, Adam, you just explained in 77 they lost the NFC title game.
Yeah.
Cody watches the worst kick of all time. I mean, Gary Anderson's miss was obviously that's brutal. Like, that was a brutal miss, but I mean, at least it was somewhere near it. Obviously Blair Walsh kicked it to another zip code.
And he had made 3 field goals that game. I was like, I was confident. I was like, he's going to make this. And I got a bunch of free shots, though, so that was a good thing at the bar I was at, because that was a meltdown. I had a good meltdown at that one. That was
I had food poisoning that day. I was a brutal day, and I was just starting to like kind of feel better, where I wasn't on the can all day. It was around the kick, and then that happened, and I literally said, I will take 8 more hours of what I experienced the 8 hours prior if that kick went in. Like, I would have taken it. I would have taken more food poisoning if I just had made the damn kick. That's a brutal one.
Yeah,
love it.
Tough game.
Yeah, love the angst.
Was Gary Anderson's missed kick kind of like the start of the announcer's curse? Because I swear I don't remember at any given time before that any announcer ever going, "Oh, he's never missed this kick before."
Yeah. Yes, there's the infamous John Madden of he's been perfect all season, or 128 for 28 or something. I forget what the exact number was, but yes, that might have been where the announcer jinx curse started, or at least it was definitely most popular. God. Hey, fellas, before we wrap up, though, on Vikings Vent Line, Adam, any other final takes, any shout-outs you love to give here on the show?
Just to give a shout out to my brother, if he's watching and listening, and also to some family out there. So, and I won't end the way I ended my last one, which was a statement about the Green Bay Packers. I won't do that. I will take the high ground and say, just, hey, thank you if anyone's listening out there. And Skol Vikings, man. I'm telling you, this coaching regime, I feel something with this. If they're ever going to do it, it's with this regime. I really believe that. I'm all in on them, and I'm notoriously cynical, but I think it's pretty good. So anyway, that's my final statement.
Lot of good trust. Not even blind trust, but trust in Kevin O'Connell and.
Well, it's probably blind too. But,
yeah, a little bit of blind. Cody, how about you, man? Any final takes? Any shout outs here on Vikings Vent Line?
Well, both. Shout out. Say hi.
Hello.
in way too many ways. I'm lucky and blessed. We've almost been married for 10 years next week. And my Vikings take whatever over under passing yards they put for JJ McCarthy, it's over.
I like that one. Yeah. Hammer the over for it, for everything, for the wins, for passing yards, for all that noise. I like all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
Definitely.
Well, guys, thanks for joining. Appreciate your takes. Awesome stuff here on Vikings Vent Line. Again, anyone listening, watching, wants to be on a future episode, you can hit me up. VikingsVentLine@gmail.com is the email to send an invite to the show. Purple Daily Vikings Entertainment, where we just want to see the Vikings win a Super Bowl before we die.
Awesome.